and the dairy sector as well. And I'll tell you why that is very important. The horticultural sector does play a very crucial role when it comes to achieving our goal on food security and also at the same time earning our country a lot of foreign revenue through exchange with the international market. And when we're talking about the dairy sector, I believe every single one of us has had a cup of tea this morning. If you have enjoyed a cup of tea, let me see your hands up somewhere. Yes, good. And one common ingredient that was there in your cup of tea is milk. And that's how important the dairy sector is. But as of now, as a country, we are not yet able to meet the local demand of milk here. And that's why we need to come up with innovative ways like the use of solar energy to make sure that we are improving these particular agri-sectors. Now, as we progress with the program, we're going to have different stakeholders who are very key in implementing the vision of DREEM HUB. They will be coming on stage to talk to us a lot more on why this program is very crucial for every person in the agricultural sector, not just farmers, but also key value players. But before we get to that, allow me to officially introduce myself. My name is Violeta Ngina. I am a television presenter on Citizen TV, specifically a program called Kenya's Gold that focuses on all matters agriculture and how to convert climate change into opportunities. And in this particular session, I'm going to be your host. So thank you once again for being with us. Now, like I said when we started, today does mark a very important day for all of us as we are going to be putting ourselves steps ahead when it comes to mitigating matters climate change. Now, remember, use of renewable energy sources like solar energy does play a very great role in minimizing the greenhouse gases that are emitted in the air. And we know the devastating effects of greenhouse gases. So as we launch this program today, please start thinking of what can we all do to make sure that we are part of saving our planet, because we do not have another place that we can live. Now, one of the major things that we're trying to make sure we achieve today is help our farmers adopt to the use of solar energy and also practice sustainable agricultural practices. So when you're talking about sustainability in agriculture, the biggest thing that we are trying to achieve is making sure that this generation, the current generation we are in right now, is able to meet their food needs without compromising the ability of the future generation to do the same. And that's why innovation and the use of renewable energy is very important. Now, to set pace on more details about DREEM HUB, distributed renewable energy ecosystem model, I want to call back on stage Mr. Ernest Chitechi, who is the Manager Corporate Services at Kenya Climate Innovation Center. He's going to shed a lot more details on what this morning is going to be about. So ladies and gents, without much further ado, let us put our hands together once again for Mr. Ernest Chitechi.
Yeah, so good morning once again. Yeah, I'm sure all of us this morning, we woke up feeling very refreshed. I'm sure some of us had our dreams. I don't know how many dreams we had since we went to bed. Maybe I'll just sample one or two guys to tell me what was their dream so that I can tell you about our dream program. Anyone who wants to volunteer, what was their dream today? Just one person in 1 second. You guys didn't dream. Yeah, so it's fine. So the DREEM program, which my co-host Ngina has mentioned, is the distributed renewable energy ecosystem model. And through this particular program, we are going to use the SPOC model, which is a very transformative model that will ensure that we achieve all the objective of the program and also see to it that Kenya achieves its economic development. Why the SPOC? Because we believe that alone we cannot be able to achieve what we envision in this particular program. So we have identified 7 pillars which are in our spoke, and they are looking at enterprise support and development. So this is a pillar that then will look at how do we engage enterprises, because these are the ones who are always innovating the solutions that you want to drive and the distributed renewable energy. Then we're also looking at access to finance, because we know the enterprises, the farmers, all those people require some resources, whether it's developing a business, whether you want to buy the product. So we need to avail some innovative financing that will enable them then develop that section. So we'll have a key partner also doing that. Then we are looking at skills development and capacity building. We all need to train. We all need new knowledge. And this knowledge can only be achieved if we have adequate skills imparted into us, training people on how to use solar, how to develop those solar products, how to repair them, and that will come critical for sustainability. Then we are looking at community livelihood and impact. So communities are actually the main recipient of this particular program. So whatever we do, how do we ensure that livelihoods are sustained, and we'll have a partner who will also be championing that. Then we have a partner who will be looking at research and development, because all the time we need to be innovating, looking at what is happening, coming up with new products, and moving those products just from research and development to actual products. So this particular spoke partner will be key in terms of helping us to do more research on what we need to do and all that. Then finally, we need to have someone who will be demonstrating. Because if I tell you we can do solar for dairy, for most people they'll just be imagining how will that be applicable. But you see, if we set up some agri-solar demonstration farm, people will actually see how the product is working, how the solution is working, and how that can be then adapted to their local needs. So that will be the key focus of this particular program. So, and why do we focus on agriculture? Because we know that Kenya as a country, agriculture is key, for our livelihood because of food, and also for economic development, because that's where you'll find almost 80% of our jobs are agriculture related, and therefore that's why we picked agriculture. And as a DREEM program, which is being implemented by KCIC and supported by the Charles Stewart Foundation, KCIC is implementing the Kenya version. We have other partners who are implementing it in Uganda and Tanzania. So KCIC will be playing the role of coordination of those 3 particular hubs, so that we can have lessons learned, shared, we can collect data, we can do joint research, and also see how we can do cross-learning among the 3 countries. We're also looking at how do we then empower either youth and women through this, because you realize majority of the people who are actually farmers are women. So we'll have a special focus on the women, and then looking at innovative financing and access to market. And that's why you have a spoke. So the partners will do that, but you also have other cross-cutting ideas where you'll have solar tech providers. We're looking at also having market access agencies, looking at people who are then the farmers and all those. So it will work like a wheel, the same way we have the wheel of a bicycle. If it doesn't have those 2 spokes, then I don't think that bicycle will ever move. So we are looking at all those to support us in this particular program. So we did a program called Productive Use of Solar Energy. It was just a pilot. It has given us a lot of lessons, and those lessons have actually informed the design of this particular program. And I know at some point one of my colleagues will be talking about it, so I won't dwell so much into it. But As a program, so far what we have done, we've done the design phase, and through the design phase, we've conducted baseline, we've also done some studies, we've already now identified the partners, and we'll be unveiling them at some point and introducing those particular partners who will support us. Not all of them are in the room today, but those who will be present will be introduced for this particular event. So I will not dwell much on that, so I want to take this time to bring back my co-host Ngina to the stage so that they can invite the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ernest Chitechi, for that introduction, giving us more insights on why we are here today and also what to expect in the program today. Now, remember, we are here because we are launching the DREEM HUB program, Distributed Renewable Energy Ecosystem Model, and we're paying a lot of attention to the agricultural sector. Remember, back at home, agriculture is the backbone of our economy, and when it comes to employment, it does employ about 40% of the total population of Kenya and 70% of the total population in the rural areas. And that's why we need to make sure that when it comes to matters innovation and technology, we're putting matters agriculture first. Now, before we get to our first speaker of the day, who's going to also be shedding more light on the DREAM program, allow me to appreciate some of the key stakeholders who have been, are, and will continue to be very crucial partners in implementing the vision of DREEM HUB project. And once I mention a particular stakeholder, I'd like for us to give them a clap. Is that okay? Great. So we are going to start with our first stakeholder, national and county government. A clap for them. Thank you so much. We also do have DREAM Spoke partners. Another clap for them. We also have enterprise support organizations. And finally, the financiers in the room. Another clap for them. Now, these are the stakeholders who have believed in the vision of DREEM HUB. They've put together their time and resources to make sure that this program is successful. We'll get to hear a lot from them as we go on with the program. But at this particular moment, please, with your permission, allow me to introduce our first speaker of the day. He's going to shed more light on the journey. How did we get here? He'll talk to us about the pilot project, which is PUSE, and also give us an introduction into the DREEM HUB project. Ladies and gents, without much further ado, allow me to call on stage Mr. Felix Magaju, who is the Director, Program Support and Investment at Kenya Climate Innovation Center.
Thanks, Gina. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. One of the things that I've caught when she was talking is about, me giving a background of where we are coming from. And so I want to give you a little bit of a story, just to be able to let you know where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going. So as Gina said, as mentioned, my name is Felix Magaju. I'm Director in charge of programs, investment, and procurement at KCC. And this morning, it's our pleasure this morning to really welcome each one of us as we launch this program called DREEM HUB. I remember 3 years ago, through our social media connection, the power of social media, we got in touch with Mott Foundation. And we started just a conversation over social media. The way somebody can just DM you, and you just start, hey, hi. You can imagine that hi has made us to be where we are this morning. I know some of us don't believe that social media can change things. But the last 3 years, once we started that conversation with Dr. Robert, who will be speaking later on today, started conversations and started learning what is happening in Uganda. There are some programs in Uganda and Tanzania. And then out of that, we invited him to Kenya to start conversations with us. And I remember, us having the first meeting at Java, near our offices. That's how this conversation started. And then from there, we agreed to start working together between KCAC, and Charles Stewart Moore Foundation. And we agreed to pilot a program called Productive Use of Solar Energy in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. That is how, we wanted to have East Africa as our pilot, geographical focus. So at least we can be able to understand what is happening in Kenya, what's happening in Uganda, what's happening in Tanzania. And so what happened is that we made a call for applications for that program called Productive Use of Solar Energy. And then from there, we were able to select just 10 companies in Kenya, 10 in Uganda, 10 in Tanzania. And of course, the focus, as Ernest has mentioned, the focus was on how do we use solar energy in the dairy sector. And that in the dairy sector and the horticulture sector. And so we were able to get 10 companies in Uganda, Tanzania, and Uganda. Those are 30 companies that we supported. And out of that, we were able to support them for close to 2 years to be able to adopt, various technologies across, in solar to be able to increase the productivity, to be able to increase the shelf life, to be able to do a couple of things, within those two value chains. And out of that, we got, into further conversations with Mott. I know I'm not following the PPT. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a back-end conversation for you to be able to appreciate how and where you are coming from and why we are where we are today, so that you can be able to appreciate the journey and be part and parcel of what is happening in the productive use of solar space. And out of that, we also got a second financing from Mott, whereby we were coordinating what was happening to have an annual meeting with all the partners across East Africa. And we were able to hold the first meeting in Kenya and the second meeting in Tanzania last year. And this year, the annual meeting is taking place in Uganda, just to ensure that we have been able to tap into what is happening in the 3 East African countries and try to weave in those kind of lessons and try to see what has happened in those 3 countries. Luckily enough, as those projects were coming to an end last year, we started having conversations with Mott again. And out of that, they were able graciously to help us design a program that my brother Ernest has talked about, which is the DREEM HUB program. And out of that, we also got a second financing almost at the same time to become now the official coordinator of all the DREEM HUB partners in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And so we have 2 grants from Charles Stewart Moore Foundation. Thank you. And out of that, that is what has made us to be where we are this morning to launch the DREEM HUB program. And so, in terms of the productive use of solar energy program, just I'll give you very high level numbers. If you look at what we're presenting today, in terms of jobs creation, in terms of third-party financing, because that's one of the key pillars of support that we're offering enterprises, created for 7 jobs. It was a pilot program, involving that enterprises. Look at the amount of money we were able to leverage, and from that party, the tons of CO2 that we were able to support those companies to be able to, mitigate, and the number of customers and the amount of money that those guys were able to earn as revenues. And so out of the pilot program, the donor was quite impressed by what we were able to do in 2 years. And so that is how we got the second and round phase of funding for KCIC. And somebody, at that point in time, we started asking ourselves 6 months, what do we do? We have gotten some good results, and that's how we started conversing with the foundation to be able to secure the DREEM HUB program, which as Ernest has said this morning, is a program that is looking at KCAC as a coordinator of the DREEM HUB partners. And so the good thing is all of them, they are here this morning. At one point in time, we'll be able to hear at least them saying hello. And what we are doing at DREEM HUB in very few, in a summary, is we are supporting the scale-up of the productive use of solar energy, but this time specifically now in Kenya. And so the focus is still on dairy and horticulture sectors. And this time around, KCAC is not the main implementer. Now this time around, the implementers, they are the ones to fold their hands and go to the ground and work with the guys on the ground. KCAC will be a coordinator, whereby we are looking at a number of financiers, financing institutions. We are looking at people who are offering enterprise development support. We are looking at people who are offering, very technical support. So our work will be just to coordinate them, and then they will be the ones who will be supporting the enterprises, the cooperatives, the youth, the women, and all the beneficiaries of this program. So that's how the DREEM HUB came after the PUSE program, came to an end. Maybe some of the stakeholders in the room would want to know perhaps what are some of the challenges that we faced or that perhaps we encountered, maybe for them to be able to do further programming around that. And so one of the key things that we have discovered, even if you are saying that Kenya, for example, we are using it's almost 70 or 80% of renewable energy sources to be able to power, the country. But when you go to the rural areas, one of the key things that comes out of the program is you realize that there's a lot of energy poverty that is being experienced, and that's for a fact. That is why nowadays most of us, we are talking about productive use of solar energy, because solar is there. Then how do we make use of it? How do we use solar in health? How do we use solar in agriculture? How do we use solar, in each and every sector that we have? So that's one of the key things that came. The other big problem that we encountered, and I'll give an example. I remember one company in Tanzania, they got a very big LPO, and when we handed annual program, that I think they required almost $2 million. They had a big government, contract. For them to be able to raise funds in Tanzania was a big problem. I remember me and Joseph discussing with that enterprise on how we can be able to support them to be able to secure financing from an LPO in Tanzania. And so the second bigger challenge that we encountered is about finance access for these enterprises. Of course, all of us know that the capex required to be able to purchase, solar kits, not the one for writing, for the one for perhaps, that require a little bit of capacity to fuel some machines. The capex required is a bit heavy. And of course, when you look at our financing ecosystem in the country today, not only in Kenya but also in the East African region, I mean, solar slowly by slowly it's getting momentum, and so people are yet to start really appreciating I can be able to fund a startup that has a very, very, very good idea that can be scaled, that can be able to, make revenues. And so that is one of the key things that we identify, that KCAC is playing a very critical role in terms of risking and supporting enterprises in the productive use of solar space to be able to secure financing. The key objectives were, access to solar energy, building capacities of the enterprises who have come up with these innovations in the solar space. In terms of financial support, at Kenya Climate Innovation Center, there's no program that we develop without a very strong financing component, because we have come to realize in Kenya, most programs have done capacity development, capacity building, they have done training. And so one of the key components that we include in our model is to ensure that there is a strong financing component. For the early stage companies, we are talking about grants. For companies that have revenues, we are talking about very concessionary financing to be able to support them and risk them to go to banks and other commercial financiers. And of course, geographical focus is talked about East Africa. Next. Now, allow me to delve deeper in terms of the DREEM HUB, just to give you a few things in terms of the key pillars. Ernest mentioned them. We're talking about, enterprise support. We're talking about financing. We're talking about community empowerment. We're talking about skills development. And skills development can come in, this is the technical aspect. For example, somebody who is in the dairy sector may not, require, of course, they require the enterprise support in terms from a commercial perspective. But also, that's where people like DTI, people who will train you on milk production, on cows, that's a technical side of that business. And we thought that is going to put it there so that at least we can be able to offer all-round support to these companies and cooperatives for them to be able to scale. In terms of course, there's research and development. There is a demo farm. We will be able to put 1 or 2 demo farms in each and every county. It's going to mention that we are piloting, not really piloting, we are starting with 4 counties right now. Then next year, we should be able to really do the other counties. So like Laikipia, Isiolo, Machakos, I think Kitui and Makueni. Then from there, we'll be able to scale up the program to a number of counties next year. So those are the 4 counties. Those are the 4 counties we are starting with this year. Next. In terms of the impact, it's fivefold. It's about supporting our cooperatives to be able to reach more farmers. If some of us, those of us who have been privileged to go to the rural areas and to really look at the cooperatives, I was giving one example. I got in touch with one rural-based cooperative somewhere, and these guys, they are producing 12,000 liters of milk, just to give you an example, with close to 200 farmers. 200 farmers, 12,000 liters of milk in a month. Those people are very good in numbers. If you do the average of 12,000 and 200 farmers, then you'll come to realize that there's a missing link somewhere. Some people will say it's because of the quality of the cows. We may agree. We have no problem, the gene, all those kind of things. But also you come to realize the pricing of milk in some of our rural areas is quite low. Maybe in Nairobi, Kidongori, you can talk about the prices being high. One place I went, I came to realize that those guys, they are traveling long distances to be able to have their milk taken to the cooperatives. You can imagine somebody having a tuk-tuk or a bicycle or something and doing 20 kilometers to take their milk. What about if at all that group or that cooperative was able to put, a milk chiller, at least a place nearby? It will even encourage the farmers to be able to produce more. But there's no need of me in Guinea in the morning. In the rural areas, you are carrying, those gallons in the morning for 20 kilometers or 10 kilometers. I know some of you may think that's not the reality, but the truth of the matter is, if you go to some rural areas, especially Isiolo, for them to be able to get camel milk in Isiolo, how many kilometers do they travel every morning? What about if at all there are some entrepreneurs, innovative ones, who can see the opportunity and can get support in the room to be able to put some milk chillers down there or whatever it is? So that is why we want to do and scale up this project. In terms of sustainability, we are looking at post 2 years, 2027, we are aiming to create an independent entity to be able to look at this program, to fundraise for it, and ensure that perhaps it has taken along a bigger mandate across East Africa to ensure that we have not only just, most NGOs, they just bite and leave. But we want to ensure that whatever we have started, we can be able to scale and ensure that many farmers and cooperatives in Kenya, they are being supported. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to believe that at least I've been able to help you to really have a deep understanding of what KCC is doing, where we are coming from, and where we are going. And it's also my pleasure to say thank you very much for the support that you have gotten to so many stakeholders, from government side, from private sector, and also colleagues in the ecosystem that we have been able to work with. Those few remarks, thank you very much. God bless you, and looking forward to having this conversation today. Thank you.
Kindly, can we please give first speaker of the session a better round of applause, Mr. Felix Magaju, Director, Program Support and Investments at Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Thank you so very much for those insights and also giving us a journey on where we are coming from, where we are now, and what the future prospects look like. And I do appreciate the fact that you're putting a lot of effort into small-scale farmers, because if you're looking at the horticultural sector and the dairy sector as well, it is dominated by small-scale farmers, and generally the food in Africa, majority of the food in Africa is provided by small-scale farmers, and that's why we need to make sure that we are upscaling them with the right technology and innovation, and the innovation of the day being proper uptake of solar energy. Now, this particular moment, I do want to bring back on stage Mr. Ernest, who will be introducing to us our next speaker this morning.
Okay, thank you. So, as my co-MC has said, this program was funded by the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation in the US. They were meant to speak to us, but it's a bit too early in the US, so they will be speaking to us later. So I want to take this opportunity to call on stage the CEO of Kenya Climate Innovation Center, Mr. Joseph Mrabula, to give us his remarks. Welcome, Joseph.
Very good. Let me first of all begin by saying I'm very, very happy to see all of you here. And thank you for taking the time to be here with us. What we are doing today is launching a program that we think is very innovative and that we think will be a game changer in this country as it is. So to begin, to you all our distinguished guests, government officials present, development partners, private sector leaders, cooperatives, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once more. Yeah, I was hoping that the tea we provided today morning gave people quite a bit of energy. So can I say good morning once more? Thank you. That's a lot better. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a profound honor to welcome all of you to today's session, where we launch the Distributed Renewable Energy Ecosystem Model Hub in Kenya. This day, as many of the speakers who've gone before me have said, marks a significant milestone in terms of our collective efforts to drive sustainable energy solutions in Kenya and beyond. I think it's already been mentioned that this program is a successor to a program that we've been implementing in 3 East African countries in the last 3 years, and therefore this is more a culmination of the information and the results we've been able to get, some of which my colleague Felix has just presented. Therefore, I wish to begin with sincere gratitude to everybody who's joined us today, both physically and virtually, as we kickstart this significant program, to our stakeholders and partners who have worked with us this journey of climate entrepreneurship, this journey of climate impact for the 12 years that KCIC has been around. We want to thank you. I want to thank you most sincerely for your steadfast support, because without you, we would not have been able to achieve what we have achieved, and we would certainly not be here. KCIC is founded on the belief that climate change can be addressed at the intersection of innovation and entrepreneurship. And therefore, it's for this reason that we are at the forefront in terms of supporting innovative climate change solutions in the 5 sectors that we focus on, and that is agriculture, water, renewable energy, waste management, and commercial forestry. And the program that we are launching today, the DREEM HUB, I think the name has been said severally, the Distributed Renewable Energy Ecosystem Model, is a culmination of many lessons learned, not just for the past 2 years that we've been implementing the productive use of solar energy program in East Africa, but lessons learned over the 12 years of our existence as it is. So this model, therefore, embodies great promise and, as the name suggests, great dreams, because we are looking ahead. These dreams, we strongly believe, are well within reach. The DREEM HUB is premised on 2 pivotal sectors, that is energy and agriculture. And I think everyone in this room knows how important those 2 sectors are. We know that over 30% of our GDP is accounted for by agriculture, and literally over 50% of employment in this country is within the agricultural space. And we now need energy not just for lighting, not just for powering industry, but for powering agriculture and powering it in a green way. So this program seeks to accelerate the adoption of solar energy for productive use in Kenya's dairy and horticultural value chains. And it will do this by providing financing, capacity building, ecosystem support to the youth and women agri-solar entrepreneurs. The critical role that Kenya's agricultural sector plays cannot be gainsaid. I just mentioned its contribution to GDP, it's about 33%, and the fact that it remains the backbone of our economy. But despite the agricultural sector's great potential, it is faced with many, many challenges, key among them being lack of access to affordable and reliable energy. Smallholder farmers in particular and small agribusinesses struggle with costly and inconsistent power supply, making it difficult to maximize productivity and profitability. In recent years, what we have seen is that many farmers have turned to solar-powered solutions in their efforts to create opportunities that increase productivity and income. While these solutions work, they come with very high initial costs, and technical expertise and skill set to maintain them remains a challenge. These challenges are felt more acutely by women and youth for obvious reasons, mostly because they typically do not control resources or assets such as land and finances, which basically further limits their productivity or their eligibility for financing. So the DREEM Hub therefore seeks to address these gaps by fostering an inclusive and enabling environment that empowers smallholder farmers to integrate solar energy solutions into their agricultural practices. Now, through strategic partnerships, financial support, and targeted capacity building programs, the Hub will seek to unlock the full potential of the agri-solar sector. To turn this vision into a reality, the Hub will establish a concessional revolving loan fund to ensure that farmers and cooperatives have access to affordable financing. Additionally, over 1,000 youth and women agri-solar entrepreneurs in the rural and off-grid communities will receive training, equipping them with the business skills, technical expertise, and market access opportunities. Now, beyond financing and market linkages, what do we want to do? That, I guess, is the question. So what we will do, or what we propose to do, is to work with other ecosystem partners to promote investment in decentralized renewable energy solutions, create an ecosystem that supports sustainable agricultural transformation, and one that will be unstoppable. As we mentioned, while this program will run for the next few years, what we want to ensure is that it will be an enduring program, so that when we meet here, God willing, in the next 15 to 20 years, we will say, look, when we met at Ole Serene, we planted a seed, and this is how it looks like. The country will be transforming, and agriculture will be more productive than it is now. Ladies and gentlemen, in an evolution of our programmatic approach, the interventions of this program will not be driven by KCIC alone. What we are hoping to do is to bring everybody on board. I think my colleagues have spoken about how we would like to transform the way this kind of programs are done in this country by ensuring that everybody in the ecosystem has a role to play, and that everybody does what they are best at doing. So we will do, as KCIC, what we are best at, and then more or less farm out or work with the ecosystem players in terms of the other components. And that's where we have people we are calling the spoke partners. We will be the hub, the spoke partners will implement the other components. So what basically we are saying is that we will use this unique implementation approach, the hub and spoke model, where we act as a coordination unit supported by multiple spokes or multiple ecosystem players. These partners will spearhead the other components, including enterprise support and development, skills development, access to finance, community and livelihood impact assessment, among others. So this ecosystem approach aligns perfectly with the new strategy of KCIC. Many of you here will be invited to the launch of our, what we call KCIC 4.0, our new strategy, which is a Pan-African strategy in May. So we will not just be working in Kenya, but we'll be working Africa-wide. And in that strategy, we hope that every program we create, we will then have this model. So this program is going to be the first in terms of alignment with KCIC 4.0, which is a strategy that is going to run from July this year to 2030. So under KCIC 4.4, we envision a continent where sustainable enterprises and climate resilient communities are the norm and not just the exception. Our chosen path to this future is rooted in our mission of catalyzing climate entrepreneurship at the ecosystem level. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to note that DREEM HUB is also in tandem with the Kenya's National Energy Policy of 2025 to 2034, which seeks to expand the country's renewable energy capacity. So through this program, we'll be promoting decentralized renewable energy solutions, ensuring that smallholder farmers, agripreneurs, and cooperatives reap the benefits of clean, affordable, and reliable energy. So with those remarks, let us now take a brief moment just to envision the impact of this program. And many have said, but imagine a dairy farmer in Laikipia or a horticulture farmer in Isiolo who is no longer constrained by unreliable power supply, thriving to access solar-powered solutions, enhancing productivity, and reducing post-harvest losses. That is what we hope will be happening in the future. And we hope that this now doesn't just remain an imagination, this will be reality. So when our monitoring and evaluation colleagues go to look at the impact on the ground in a couple of years, hopefully that's what they'll be seeing. We also anticipate that there'll be a 30% increase in farmer incomes as a result of the program's interventions, creation of 700 direct jobs and 2,100 indirect jobs in the sector. And then because we are a climate impact center, we expect to reduce or mitigate 300,000 metric tons of carbon emissions. We project that scaling up solar solutions to 1,000 smallholder farmers and an increased adoption rate of solar in agriculture by up to 60%. I think we all know that the two value chains we've chosen, that is dairy and horticulture, are the most emitters of greenhouse gases in the agricultural sector. So what we therefore hope as we green this subsectors is that then the agricultural sector will become more and more green. So beyond Kenya, as I mentioned, we are going Pan-African. So beyond Kenya, the DREAM initiative is also being implemented in Uganda and Tanzania, and we are going to be the coordinator of that across the region. What we hope is that this regional approach will amplify the impact of the program across East Africa, thereby facilitating knowledge sharing of best practices and innovations. I'm also happy to report that KCIC will be playing the coordinating roles across the three countries. And in Uganda, we will work with an organization called Haifa International. Of course, they are also represented here. And in Tanzania, we'll work with the WWF Tanzania. And jointly, we hope to build a very strong ecosystem, basically to transform the agricultural sector in East Africa in a sustainable way. So as we officially launch this program today, I must remind us, therefore, that this goes beyond just solarizing key agricultural value chains. The DREEM HUB is rooted in the belief that when we sustainably power agriculture, you then also empower generations to come. This empowerment does not stop merely at economic prosperity or food security, but importantly, it extends to environment conservation and extends to climate resilience. And that aligns very well with our vision to ensure that all communities around Africa are climate resilient. So as I conclude, I think it will be an injustice if I do not mention that access to finance remains the biggest stumbling block on the path of climate entrepreneurs as they work towards climate solutions. This year in October, and all of you are invited, I'm extending the invitation now. So this year in October, we will host the second KCIC Investment Summit. We did a very successful one a couple of years ago in 2023, October. So the first week of October, please don't be anywhere else. We will be hosting the KCIC Investment Summit. And in that summit, we hope to bring together investors and entrepreneurs within the climate space and a lot of ecosystem players together to basically look at solutions going forward. What we hope is that among the entrepreneurs present will be the entrepreneurs supported by this program. So let me take this early opportunity to invite you to the KCIC Investment Summit, second edition, first week, October 2025. So to conclude, my message today is very simple. To our farmers, to our agri-solar entrepreneurs, to our partners in the private sector, to the government, and basically to ecosystem at large, let us remember that this is a collective movement. The DREEM HUB is a collective movement. Nobody, however big, however large, however powerful, is ever going to achieve anything meaningful if they work alone. So let us work together to ensure that the DREEM HUB is scaled and the DREEM HUB is led properly, because together we can, and we will turn the dream of the DREEM HUB into a permanent, self-sustaining force for good. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me, and looking forward to very good deliberations today. Thank you very much.
Once again, could we kindly give Mr. Joseph Murabula, the CEO of Kenya Climate Innovation Center, a better round of applause? Thank you so much for your remarks this morning. Now remember, DREEM HUB, Distributed Renewable Energy Ecosystem Model, is a program that is being implemented by KCIC, who over the years have been very keen when it comes to providing capacity building, incubation, and flexible financing options to new, small, and medium business ventures, as well as Kenyan entrepreneurs who are coming up with innovations that are supporting the mitigation of climate change. And we're very honored to be here today to see the good work that you're doing. Now remember, as we launch the DREEM HUB, the main agenda remains encouraging our farmers and different key players across the agricultural value chain to adopt the use of renewable energy sources. Now, when we're talking about the potential of solar energy in Kenya alone, our potential is at 15,000 megawatts, and currently we are doing slightly above 100 megawatts. results. So later on in the program, we are going to be speaking and getting more insights from the project manager of DREEM HUB, who will be shedding more light on what they're planning on doing to make sure that we are upscaling the adoption of solar energy in the country. So you better stick around for that and more. Now, before I do introduce our next esteemed speaker this morning, allow me once again to appreciate the key stakeholders who are and will continue to be crucial players in making sure that the vision of a DREEM HUB is achieved. We do have the national and county government, we have the DREAM spoke partners, also we have the enterprise support organizations, and finally the financiers in the room. Thank you so very much for believing in this project and investing your time and resources to make sure that DREAM is finally a reality as we launch it this morning. Now, speaking of the national government, on behalf of the PS State Agriculture, we do have the PS, Dr. Kiprono. On behalf, we have Mr. Haron Keretich, who will be speaking to us on why the national government felt it very important for them to be part of this initiative. So ladies and gents, put your hands together for Mr. Haron Keretich.
The CEO, KCIC, Mr. Joseph Murabula, government representatives, both from the national government and the county governments, all stakeholders, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Aaron Kertich, as you've been told. I'm here representing the PS, State Department for Agriculture. I am the Director of ICT in the State Department for Agriculture. And when this invitation was made, I think the PS thought it wise that this is an issue to do with innovation. I was the right person to come and represent him. So I must say that I'm glad to be here to represent the PS in the launch of this DREEM HUB solution. I can see the theme is about solarizing key agricultural value chains. And indeed, I think the way to go is solarizing our agricultural value chains. Simply because I think solar is there for us just to use it. And for sure, all of us basically, I don't know, personally I'm a farmer in my own way. How many of us are farmers? Basically all of us, right? So I think this is something very important for all of us. As I've said, I'm a farmer in my small way, the same way you are. So let's really adopt these innovative ways of using solar. I want to say that the government is more than willing to support this kind of initiative, which may come in form of public-private partnership to adopt these new technologies, particularly utilizing solar or renewable energy. The government will support these kind of initiatives in even creating awareness of the available solutions. And we want to encourage the private sector to really embrace these kind of solutions. This will no doubt create more job opportunities for our Kenyans. You are aware that currently the unemployment rate is very high, and when we've got such initiatives, it will no doubt help the government or the country in creating more job opportunities. The DREEM HUB is a timely and transformative intervention, tackling some of the most pressing challenges faced by Kenya's dairy and horticultural farmers. And we recognize that high energy costs limit productivity and increase operational costs for farmers. Post-harvest losses remain a major barrier to value addition and market expansion. Access to financing for clean energy solutions still limits and prevents smallholder farmers from embracing modern, efficient agribusiness practices. And I'm happy that the CEO mentioned about all this. By integrating solar-powered irrigation, cooling, and processing solutions into these critical agricultural value chains, the DREEM HUB is directly addressing these challenges, ensuring that farmers can produce more, waste less, and earn better incomes. I can assure you that as farmers do their work, in the long run, they want to get something and feel something in their pockets. And that includes me also. I long for that day when I'll be feeling my pocket is full. I long for that day. I don't know when it will come. As we celebrate this launch of DREEM HUB today, I want to reaffirm the government's commitment to supporting this initiative and other stakeholders working to advance agri-solar solutions in the country. And I want to say that and encourage all players in this sector that let's adopt technology so that we can make our cost of production cheaper. I long for that day, for example, when you talk of, the first presenter talked of farmers traveling for a long distance to deliver their milk. And I want to say that I long for that day when a farmer will just be walking to the closest delivery point where there is a cooling system, where there is an automated system, and their work will only be to place their containers to measure the amount of milk they have brought, and they leave it there and they go back, not just waiting for that fan to come and pick the milk. I long for that day when that will be available, whereby the farmer will just be going, deliver, maybe pour the milk to maybe a bigger container, and they go back. And they even get a message telling them that this is the amount of milk they have delivered, this the amount of money they will get from the delivery of that day. I want to challenge those who are in the tech. As I've said, my profession is ICT. I challenge those who are in the tech field to come up with such solutions so that we make work easier for the common mwananchi or that farmer, that dairy farmer, that farmer who farms, let's say, perishable products. Let's make it easy as much as possible. Solutions are there. It's only us to implement. I think as government, we've benchmarked a lot on best solutions, And it's now the time to implement those solutions which we've learned from best practices maybe in other countries. The State Department for Agriculture stands ready to work with all stakeholders to make this a self-sustaining and scalable initiative. I therefore commend KCIC, the Fund Foundation, and all partners for making this launch possible. Together, let's power agriculture, strengthen our farmers, and drive sustainable economic growth. And with that, should I declare, maybe you guide me when okay. So with that, I say asanteni sana and congratulations for the DREEM HUB team on this milestone. Mungu awabariki sana. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Haron Kertich. Speaking on behalf of the PS State Department of Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono. Thank you so very much to the national government for believing in the vision of the DREEM HUB and, of course, investing your time and resources to make sure that this is a success. And, of course, a very big thanks to all the other key stakeholders, including DREAM spoke partners, enterprise support organizations, and all the financiers in the room. Feel very much seen and appreciated. Now, at this particular moment, we want to get into the official launching of the DREEM HUB. And to take us through this, I want to call back on stage Mr. Ernest, who will also be inviting some of our key stakeholders to speak to us this morning. Karibu, Mr. Ernest.
Yes, so thank you, Ngina. So the moment we've been waiting for is now here. So I want to invite some of our spoke partners who are in the room today for us to sign the partnership for the DREEM HUB and also launch it at this particular moment. So I will start with an invitation for a representative from Rafford, which is a growing and deposit-taking microfinance institution. They are based in Kisumu, so they will be supporting us on the access to finance. So welcome, Rafford. Yeah. I will also now invite a representative from ECLOF, which is also a microfinance institution, which is providing both financial and non-financial services to small and medium enterprises. And they'll also be supporting the DREEM HUB with access to finance. So, ECLOF, thank you. I'll also invite the Dairy Training Institute, which supports with that provision of capacity building to dairy farmers, dairy producers, and they will be supporting us on skills and capacity development, particularly for the dairy sector. Then we also have Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, a well-renowned university that provide capacity building also on horticulture, dairy, and they'll also be a key spoke partner. Then finally, we have KENAF, which will be supporting us on the community livelihoods, because we believe that all these things that we are doing, we must have community livelihood impact being seen. And finally, I will now also invite our CEO, Mr. Joseph Murabula, and the representative from the Ministry of Agriculture to join the team on the podium as we sign the various agreements. So welcome. So they will be signing the implementation agreements to support us on how we'll implement. We still have other partners who will be doing enterprise support development. We'll also have partners who will do research, agri-solar demonstration, but those will be signed at a later date. So I invite you to sign, and then we'll take a group photo. I think once you've signed, you can pass them to the CEO of KCIC to also sign. So thank you. So we'll take a photo over here. Then I will request you to move on this other side, where then we'll officially launch the Dream Hub. So we'll officially unveil the Dream Hub. You can hold the agreements. Thank you. Before we listen to a speech from our sponsor, I'll just give a minute to each spoke partner to at least greet you before they take their seat. So I'll start with Jacquat, now that they're close to me. Thank you.
It's still good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Benson Gadhitu from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I would like to thank the KCIC for the initiative and the sponsor, Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, for the good work that they are doing. Of course, we are JKUAT, we are University of Agriculture and Technology. We embrace this and we look forward to giving you all the support that we can. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Next.
Good morning, all. My name is Abraham Biwot. I'm the principal at the Dairy Training Institute in Naivasha. As this DREAM project is coming on board, you realize that the greatest value chain is dairy here, and we really appreciate this moment because the dairy sector is a serious consumer of energy, right from production to processing. And therefore, this project on solarizing dairy value chain is very important for us as a training institute of the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. We are ready to carry out the capacity building for the farmers on the use of solar energy to improve productivity in dairy and also in processing to cut down on the cost. Thank you so much, KCIC, for this initiative and the sponsors, and we are ready to work together to realize, to make our farmers realize pesa mfukoni, because that is our motto as we improve the agriculture sector. Thank you.
Good morning, all of you. My name is Aranton Mayodi. I'm the CEO of Rafford. I want to thank KCIC for this project, and I want to say we have been working with the KCIC for a very long time. They are the ones that introduced us to renewable energy projects, and we have been working very well in different parts of Kenya. And this project actually is a good milestone because, for example, we have been working in Isiolo, and you realize that in Isiolo, we are doing distribution, financing access to cook stoves. So if you go like Merti, so when you are coming from Merti, you find that a lot of milk were being carried in these mutungis, we call them mutungis, isn't it? Coming to Isiolo. So it takes long. So this project actually is going to vitalize and help a lot in that area. So we thank you very much. We look forward to working in different parts of Kenya. And thank you very much for supporting us.
Good morning. I'm Rafael Onyango, Head of Innovation and Strategy at ECLOF Kenya. So we are representing our CEO, who is not in Nairobi. So ECLOF Kenya has been in the business of microfinance, funding the bottom of the pyramid since 30 years ago. ECLOF Kenya, again, is part of ECLOF International, that is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, and part of many other ECLOF NECs across the globe. So in Kenya, we fund, as I've mentioned, the bottom of the pyramid, the women, the youth groups. We do a lot of group funding. We fund cooperatives, mainly horticulture and other agri-business-based, cooperative groups, and including also individuals and the youths. So we are very grateful to the KCIC and the sponsor for appointing us to be the financial partner, for this project. And we can just assure that we have the expertise, we have the infrastructure, we have the competence, including even the capacities, for example, because we already have a number of demo farms, in a number of other counties across Kenya, where we practically, capacity build our cooperative or members of the cooperative societies that we partner with. So this is not going to be new. For us, it's a scale-up, and we look forward even to, building these partnerships beyond the counties that are identified, even into other counties of Kenya, because we all understand how, deficient our counties are in terms of solar utilizations, and we feel we are the right partner and we are in the right place. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mwenda Ntomailoda. I'm the CEO of the Kenya National Farmers Federation, which is the apex umbrella farmers organization in Kenya. I think when the CEO, KCIC, was talking, or maybe in the past I've heard him talk about KCIC being about innovation and enterprise, where these intersect. I think in this project, our work will be working with farmers, the beneficiaries, not only during the life of this project, but also for the long term. Seeing how the farmers bring together the innovation about solar energy, access to it, and enterprise so that they can improve their livelihoods. So for us at KNAF is really also looking at the long term, how do we work with these beneficiaries to ensure that they access the energy, to reduce the energy poverty that Felix talked about, but also how do they build better livelihoods from this access. I think that will be our work, and we're excited about it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So those are our partners that we'll be working with, not all of them, but also who will be supporting in the implementation of the program. So I'll request now we take a proper group photo before I allow you to sit. Yeah, thank you. I wanted to do the for Robert, then they do but Citizen has extended the life for us. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. we can do the. Because I've told them for Robert, and then once it's done, we just the panel. Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you. So we'll have our last speaker, who was our donor, Charles Stewart Mott Foundation. They will deliver a recorded speech because they couldn't be able to join us live. So I will invite our technical crew if they could run the speech for Dr. Robert Delamrira, who is a representative from Mott Foundation. And as it comes, I just also want to appreciate the presence
government, private sector, non-profit agencies, investors, development partners. All protocol is observed. I'd like to start by thanking the wonderful team at KCIC led by Mr. Joseph Murabura and supported by Felix Mwaki and Saumu Ismail, and all the wonderful team that has been able to put together this event for us today that is very, very historical and monumental. In my role as the Program Officer for Advancing Climate Change Solutions here at the Mott Foundation, I'm really very privileged to be working with folks like KCIC that are very committed to a sustainable future and are working day and night to make sure that it happens. Our work within the climate change solution sector has been around for about coming now to 10 years. Our board approved this in 2015, and this year 2025 marks the final but a very, very important year in our journey on these issues. Some of you may have heard the word the dream. It's not the kind of dream that most people think about, but it is DREEM, Distributed Renewable Energy Ecosystem Model. This is an idea that was pioneered by my predecessor, Sandra Smithy, God rest her soul in eternal peace, and has basically guided the framework of our grant making over the last 10 years of this strategy. And within this idea is basically an understanding that is really anchored into the philosophy of our founder. Our founder, Mr. Charles Stewart Mott, in 1926, when he started this organization, really believed in this idea that every person, every individual is in some kind of partnership with their community, to such an extent that when the individual prospers, their community prospers. And when the community prospers, the individuals within that community prosper as well. And I somehow feel that even if, he didn't say this word specifically, but embedded within that idea is this idea around energy. Because energy is really the lifeblood of the community. It is the relationship, it's the glue that binds the individual with their community and the community to the individual. And right now, today, in this very moment, the science shows that there is enough sun falling on the planet Earth today for just 2 hours to power all our energy needs for the whole year. 2 hours of sunlight every day that shines on Nairobi, that shines, in Flint where I live, that shines around the world, and has been shining since the planet Earth came into existence. 2 hours is enough to power all our energy needs: transportation, cooking, lighting, whatever energy need that you can think about. The only challenge is how to tap that energy and transform it into those uses and purposes for which we desire. And that's what this project is about. Instead of powering energy just for consumptive use, the focus is on productive use. And that's what the DREAM is about. The DREAM is about organizing stakeholders, these individuals within an ecosystem, within this community of actors, to push towards goals that will harness the power of the sun, solar energy, for productive use, particularly in those productive services that are so important to our economy, like agriculture. Now, KCIC has chosen to focus this work around dairy and horticulture, but these are just demonstration value chains. The belief is that once people see the importance of solar energy, they'll be able to use that for all other kinds of productive uses in and outside of agriculture. It is therefore my great honor and privilege to be sharing this moment with you. Unfortunately, I couldn't join you today because of the distance. I'm right now here in Barbados, in the Caribbean, attending the Sustainable Energy for All Forum, the first global meeting on this issue in 2 years. And I'd like to leave you with one remark. This momentum has already started happening around the world. It's already much further along than most people think. In fact, just earlier today, this morning, someone remarked that the amount of investments last year alone in renewable energy, including solar, around the world was $2 trillion. 2 times more investments in renewables like solar compared to fossil fuels. The wheels have already started turning. And instead of, begging for aid or waiting, for government to save us, the power of the sun is within our hands to make a difference in our lives. And I pray and hope that as you hear the different speakers today and leave and go back to your communities, you'll be able to share that same hope with them. And you'll be able not only to share that same hope with them, but to transform that hope into actions on the ground by being the change in your community, by making whatever measures, whatever improvements are necessary, exploring financial solutions as the DREAM requires, entrepreneurship, developing your skills, working with other actors within the community. Ladies and gentlemen, the ecosystem, the DREAM, the distributed renewable energy ecosystem model, the DREAM, recognizes that none of us, however big a tree is, it cannot make a forest. You need smaller trees, you need the grass, you need the rivers, you need all these other ingredients, and that's who you are. We need public policy to be supportive of initiatives like this. We need financing from the private sector and from government and from other kinds of sources to crowd in alongside the investments that KCIC and MOT are making around this project. We need the entrepreneurship, the skills to be there. And most importantly, the communities, the farmers, the cooperatives, to cooperate with the project to make sure that these solutions serve the farmers and the communities that need them the most. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't take any more of your time, but I want to thank you once again for sparing the time to be here, and I wish you wonderful deliberations. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana, tutaonana baadaye. All right, jambo.
Yeah, thank you. So those were the remarks from the representative from Charles Stewart Mott. He's actually, as he has mentioned, in Barbados, attending another forum. So he couldn't physically join us, but at least he has been able to deliver his message. So I want to bring back to stage my co-MC, Gina, to take us to the next session. Welcome, Gina.
Thank Thank you so very much, Mr. Ernest. And I want us to clap, excited and happy that we have finally launched the DREEM HUB program. So let us give ourselves a round of applause for being here. A very, very big thanks to all the speakers that have graced our stage this morning, from Mr. Felix Magaju, who is the Director, Program Support and Investment at Kenya Climate Innovation Center, Mr. Joseph Murabula, who is the CEO, Kenya Climate Innovation Center, and of course also Mr. Haron Kertich, speaking on behalf of the PS State Department of Agriculture, Dr. Kiprono Rono. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us here, and of course send our regards back to the PS. And of course, once again, I do have to appreciate our key stakeholders who have made this launch a success. They have been working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure that we do have this fantastic program that is aiming to revolutionize the agricultural sector right here in Kenya, improve the lives of our horticultural farmers and also our dairy farmers, given that these two agri-sectors do play a very key role when it comes to achieving our goal on food security and also earning our country revenue. Now, these particular stakeholders are national and county government. Once again, very many thanks. We also do have the DREAM Spoke partners. Thank you so much for the time you have put to make this a success. We also do have the enterprise support organizations. Thank you so much. And also, finally, all the financiers in the room. Also, in absentia, allow me to thank Mott Foundation, our donors. We've managed to hear some remarks from him, and he has reminded us that the power of the sun is in our hands, and it's time for us to do the most with the sun that shines so brightly every single day, almost every single day, right here in Kenya. And that is exactly what DREEM HUB is intending to do. Remember, when it comes to the agricultural sector, we cannot underestimate just how important this sector is. And we're also trying as hard as we can to make sure that the young people are taking the forefront when it comes to reshaping the agricultural sector, especially through digital innovations and technology. Now, for the next part of our program this morning, we're going to have a very interesting conversation. I'm going to be joined by county representatives who will be talking to us about the role of cooperative societies when it comes to boosting our farmers and also uplifting the economy of our country. We're also going to have tech experts who will shed more light on what you need to look out for to make sure that you are getting the correct solar equipment as you purchase for your different businesses. And finally, we will also have the project manager of DREAM, who will be talking to us about why this is the perfect opportunity to launch this program. And allow me to bring them here. They will say hi to you before I sit them down and have a conversation with them. And I'll start with Ms. Saumu Ismail, who is the project manager of DREAM. Please give her a round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. There she goes. Also, any question that you do have regarding this particular project, who are we targeting, what are we looking to achieve, she will be the right person to answer those questions. So karibu sana, Ms. Saumu. Also, we do have Mr. Munene Muindi, who is the Director of Cooperatives in Makueni County. Karibu sana. Please give him a round of applause as he walks to the stage. Yes, he will shed more light on the role of cooperative societies and how it has worked in his county. Also, we do have Ms. Queen Lombaka from TechQueen Limited. She will be answering a lot of the tech questions. Anything technical that you do have about the solar panels, she will be the right person to answer. Please give her a round of applause as she makes her way to the stage. And finally, we do have Mr. Elijah Wamunyo, who is the Deputy Director Agriculture from Laikipia County. Karibu sana. Please also give him a round of applause as he makes his way to the stage. So we're going to be having a conversation on matters incorporating renewable energy into agriculture and the different ventures that are being done by our people in our counties. And also, I will open the floor to you to ask any question regarding the conversation that we will be having here. So, even before we get into the questions, maybe we can just start by saying hi, introduce yourself once again to the people as we settle in. Watch our skills out team, and then we get to the questions.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for making it to this launch. I'm very happy today that we are launching this important program. My name is Saumu Ismail. I am a program manager for this specific program at Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Next to you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Munene Mwindi, Director Cooperative from Makueni County. It's a pleasure to be here, to be part of the climate change, people taking initiatives in mitigating against the climate change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Queen Lombaka, working with TechWin Limited. It's a pleasure to be here. I believe when we'll be interacting more, you will know what TechWin brings to the table and how we are part of this program. Thank you.
Good morning.
John?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
My name is Irija Wamunyumbugwa. I work in Laikipia County. I'm the head of strategic partnership, collaboration, and communication. And I'm assistant director in agriculture.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for that introduction. And before we get into the question, I'd kindly request you to move closer to me so that we're able to see you correctly. Our technical team is trying to make sure that you're all captured well. So please feel free to move closer. Thank you very much. I believe you're good now? Great, thank you so much. Now I'll start with you, Ms. Saumo. We're here because we're launching the DREEM HUB, a program that is being implemented by the Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Please talk to us about why this particular moment is the right, ideal time for the launch of this program.
Thank you. That's a great question. So the previous speakers have spoken about the significance of agriculture in Kenya, but also the significance of agriculture in East Africa. It contributes a lot. It employs a lot of people. So our donors just spoken about the investment we have in solar. So the question is, what are we doing about it? Mm-hmm. And the DREEM HUB program looks at unlocking the potential of the agriculture sector. We feel like we are not yet there, because if we can be losing 40%, like in terms of food losses, because there is poor infrastructure, because there is poor handling practices, there is a lot to be done really. And looking at the lack of jobs by the youth, so there is a need for us to unlock potential by identifying where the gaps are and that is what the DREEM HUB wants to do, like providing access to financing for women and youth, and making it like in a smart way for the youth to be more driven into agriculture, but also looking at training them on how to improve on handling practices and creating more awareness on how you can use solar for value addition. We want to unlock value addition to create more jobs. So there is a really huge potential in the agriculture sector, but also the nexus of energy in agriculture. Energy is the driver for most sectors. So how do we use that energy to improve community livelihoods?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so for the person who's speaking and also watching us live from Citizen TV, they'd like to know, you're targeting, of course, the people in the horticultural space and also the dairy sector, given the immense potential that is in these two agri-sectors. But they're also wondering, what is the age bracket? How young can I be? How old can I be to get support from DREEM HUB? Please shed more light on the target market.
We specifically chose dairy and value chains because they contribute more in terms of agriculture, GDP to Kenya. And also in terms of employment, the two value chains are really very significant. Then in terms of solar utilization, they are only utilizing 37% of solar. So how can we increase the adoption of solar in these two value chains? So our target is majorly the two value chains, but the program is for 3 years. Post 3 years, we intend to set up an independent hub as an organization. So we will look forward to including more value chains, but this will be based on data. So we will bring on board a research and development spoke partner who was not here with us today to support us collect data that will inform the sustainability of the hub. We're also starting with 4 counties for the 3 years, but also expand to other counties. In terms of the target groups, we are looking at youth and women. Youth between 18 and 35, that's the age bracket, right. But we don't have our age bracket for women really. Yeah, so those are our targets.
All right, thank you so very much for that. And I'll come straight to you, Mr. Munene, all the way from Makueni County. You are the Director of Cooperatives there. Please talk to us about the impact that cooperative societies have been able to create when it comes to upscaling agricultural sector and different entrepreneurial activities.
Yeah, thank you for that very important question. If you ask any Kenyan, they will tell you, if you look at our rural areas, where you find agricultural transformation, most of it has actually been driven by the cooperative movement. Because even in more arid areas like Makueni, you'll find a lot of cooperatives that are very active in the agriculture space. If you look at the focus that DREEM is going to lay on in terms of dairy and horticulture, you will find that in dairy there are a lot of cooperatives, even small ones. We were given earlier on an example of a cooperative with 200 members, and I think you mentioned around 20,000 liters. So you'll find these cooperatives all over, and one of the key limitations is actually the horticulture value chain, the dairy value chain. They require a cold chain for their products. These are highly perishable. So when you do aggregation, because that is what a cooperative will do at the initial stages, you require a lot of power. Most of them are relying on Kenya Power. And you can imagine what happens, especially when it rains. We know the power grid in Kenya more or less tends to have challenges, so that the milk cooling facilities, the horticulture cooling facilities may be affected. But if you can have a solar powered system, maybe in conjunction with the Kenya Power, then that will bring more reliability in managing post-harvest losses. Right. So in terms of aggregation, in terms of processing, if we can use solar power, we would reduce costs. That would give the farmers higher payment rates, and we can see more investments and more people, especially women and youth, joining these two important value chains in agriculture.
Right. So thank you so much for sharing the insight that energy has been a very big challenge for the farmers after aggregation in the cooperative societies. But before I move to the next panelist, ningependa sana kusikia kwa maoni yako, cooperatives zimeweza kusaidia aje wakulima katika kaunti yako?
Yeah, I talked about, if you look at Makueni, for example, we have a dairy like Mukuyuni, Kaiti dairy value chain. This is one cooperative that was solarized about 2 years ago with the support from some partners. If you look at the dairy equipment, they are very costly. If you look at solarization, the initial cost is also quite high. And that is where a cooperative comes in, because when you have a group of farmers, they can be able to raise capital to buy this equipment. But in this case, you require some support in terms of cost sharing because of the high initial costs. So as a cooperative, they can be able to cost share, for example, and then they can have equipment that can benefit members. You know, now we are looking at the level of the cooperative. We should also think about the household level. I know we have a circle. You know, we normally associate circles with being sources of money, which is okay. A farmer can access money from a cooperative circle and buy solar equipment that they may require. But I've also seen some circles giving the equipment to the members so that then monies can be recovered slowly. So that if you have a partnership like with KCIC program, then you can have a product for the farmers where you can give them the solar equipment we are promoting, and then they can pay kidogo kidogo, as we say. And then to conclude, I remember when we were supporting the example I gave you about Kaiti value chain, one of the youthful farmers told us, you have now assisted our milk aggregation equipment. But then what about the evening collection? You know, if you come to island areas like Makueni, there is a challenge on milk collection in the evening. Sometimes you may have to deliver that milk the following day. So this person was asking, why can't you also make available a simple refrigerator where I can keep my 10 liters in my household, and then it can be delivered the following day in the morning. It's going to be better quality milk for the consumer. You know, people are laughing. This is a youth. He's talking about a refrigerator, which is associated with e-rates and luxury in urban areas. But what is wrong with an urban household having a small refrigerator that they are acquiring through a facility, through their cooperative? So we should look at the aggregation levels and also at the household level.
Thank you so very much for bringing that up, because a lot of our dairy farmers in the rural areas do have market for their milk in the morning, and it's very difficult sometimes for them to find a market in the evening for the second collection, and this does lead to what we call forced consumption, and of course this is a loss for the farmers. But I'm sure Dream Hub being here, those are some of the areas that you're working towards streamlining. Now I'll move straight to you, Ms. Queen Lombaka from TechWin Limited, a manufacturer of solar-powered dairy equipment. Thank you so much for making time to be with us this morning, and I'd like for you to talk to us about what the trends are looking like with our dairy farmer at this point where we are in agriculture. Are we seeing a lot of them coming to get this equipment for solar power in their farms?
Thank you very much. So yes, the challenges, as have been mentioned, are there. But over the years, the recent years, there have been growth in uptake in both value chains. You can see, at least you can hear of people having solar-powered cold rooms, solar-powered milk coolers, solar dryers, you know. So it's not such an alien concept right now as it was a few years ago. And as a service provider, sorry, I didn't mention, TechWin Limited is a local equipment manufacturer in the dairy value chain, but we also manufacture cold rooms for horticulture and also indulge a bit in solar irrigation. So having been in the business for about 14 years, we also realized that the best way of handling or working with farmers is when they are organized in cooperatives. So you can tell how it was in 2020 and how it is in 2025, when now you're going to bring that conversation to a dairy cooperative that we need to go solar. You can tell that at least they have been either interacted with the idea somewhere or another cooperative that already is doing that. And that growth in uptake can be associated with at least the growth in awareness. Yeah, there's a lot of background noise that organizations such as KCIC and others who are fostering sustainability is doing, and also the government. And people like us who believe you cannot sell this equipment if the client don't know the benefits.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So yes, there's growth.
You're also emphasizing on the importance of cooperative societies, right? Now, if you look at the trajectory of the solar uptake in the last decade, say from about 2012 to where we are right now, there has been not as much, but still steady increase in the uptake. And I know we do have a potential of about 15,000 megawatts, which we are not yet close to achieving as of now, but we have some milestones that we are hitting. Besides the creation of awareness that you have talked about, please talk to us about what other factors are contributing to this gradual success that we are seeing.
Okay. So as my colleague here has mentioned, the main challenge that the farmers and farmer groups are facing is lack of finances. Initial cost is very, very high. Not really very, very high, that is relative. But then we are talking about 50% of our producers, dairy producers, are smallholder farmers. That are around 80%, right? So these 80% are the guys we want to bring as groups. We already know they don't have the purchasing power. So then how do we make them get these products? How do we make them have that positive attitude towards it, given they know they can't afford it? So organizations have come up that are telling them, you know, if you're interested in this thing, we can give you a percentage and do another percent, you know. And then others are just coming up and paying for awareness.
Right.
What are the advantages of this? So we take a lot of time to go out there and train them on what if we do this rather than this.
Right.
And also, if you are interested in this, who should you see? However, however, there are still a bit of gaps, yeah? Because while we know that they can access finances, are those finances that they're able to access affordable?
Right.
So, yes, there is growth, but it has been stunted by a number of factors also.
Right.
Yes.
We'll get to those factors a bit later, but also thank you so much for creating more insights on the fact that training, awareness, and also different organizations offering flexible financing options have been the reason as to why we are witnessing a growth in the solar uptake. Thank you so much for that. I'll come straight to you, Mr. Elijah Wamoyo. Thank you so much for being here all the way from Laikipia County. Tulikuwa tunazungumza na Mr. Munene akatuambia shida ambazo wakulima wa Makueni County wanapitia. After aggregation, we have post-harvest loss. You're losing about 40% of our produce because hatuna cold rooms and all that. So we'd like to hear your perspectives. Wakulima pale Laikipia County, what are some of the biggest challenges that they are facing, especially now in the wake of climate change?
Thank you very much, Gina. Yeah, the Laikipia farmers are very much willing to adopt solar, but there's challenges. One is awareness. They need to be educated. They still using the electricity. The availability of the solar equipment need to be availed. We need shops, we need the agencies who can supply, we need access nearer to the farmers. There is also the challenges of high cost of initial high cost of initial, investing in solar. That need to be looked at. We need probably subsidizing these equipment so that farmer can access them. There is also maintenance. We need also technicians who can maintain them in the rural areas. There is also policies that are not facilitating. We need to push on policies that will facilitate the adoption of the solar energy. We're happy we have the climate smart agriculture strategies, but implementation is a challenge. In the rural areas, we also have poor infrastructure. Most of our buildings are made in such a way that they will only accommodate the electricity, but we need innovations where even solar energy is accommodated. Right.
Thank you so very much. Saumu, umesikia kuna shida? But I believe you're up to the task. I will be coming to you very shortly, but also Miss Queen, umesikia akisema the awareness ni kama haijafika sana kule Laikipia, and I'd want for you later on to talk to us about how decentralized is the awareness. Usikute labda tu ni watu ambao wako within the urban centers that are accessing this information, and then we are forgetting the marginalized communities and all those people in the rural areas. I'll come back to you on that. But now moving to you, Saumu, one of the things that Elijah has mentioned, and I'm very happy he's brought that up, is the need for trained and skilled personnel when it comes to the installation, and more than that, maintenance of this solar-powered equipment. From your capacity in this project that we have launched today, what are you doing to ensure that we do have enough trained people that can take care of this solar equipment for our farmers, even in the rural areas?
Good question. So, skills development is one of our key pillars in the DREEM HUB, and we are going to work with a skills development partner, DTI, the Dairy Training Institutes, and also JQuat, to offer training at farmers level and cooperative level on how they can improve their agricultural productivity. We are also going to work with an enterprise support development partner who will mostly work on strengthening the institutions, the cooperatives now, how they can be more compliant. Understand there are very few cooperatives in horticulture, so how can we have more cooperatives in the horticulture sector? Dairy sector they are doing very well. In terms of creating more awareness, we are going to set up 2 demo farms in the 4 counties that we've mentioned. The demo farms are, when I was doing the pilot program, I noticed farmers believe when they see it work. So that's why we are going to set up the 2 demo farms, one for dairy, one for horticulture, just to showcase the potential of solar in agriculture. And that's where the technology providers like TechWin come in to install the technology and also train the farmers on soft skill on how to do simple maintenance of your technology.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I believe it's not only farmers who believe when they see. Even you, Saumu, today, if I tell you, nimeona kiatu poa mahali, you'll tell me, tuma picha nione, sindio? So it's very important to make sure that we show them and then they can buy into the idea, and that cuts across everyone. I'll come straight to you, Mr. Munene. Umesikia katika sekta ya horticulture, wakulima wa horticulture ni kama bado hawajaingia katika masuala ya cooperative society, and those who are in groups, they call them farmers groups. All right, when you hear cooperatives, the first people that come to mind is either those in the dairy sector or in the coffee sector. Please talk to us about what makes a lot of farmers, especially in the horticultural space, to shy away from being in cooperative societies.
Yeah, that's a very important question, because if you look at the potential in horticulture, and if we talk about the technology, the solar technologies, we are talking about promoting small irrigation schemes, and we want to target youth and women, and then we are saying to be able to support them, we need to have them in strong organizations. And the best of these organizations is the cooperative. It is a model that has been tried and it has been found to work for this country. If you look at Makueni, for example, you'll find in the horticulture space, there are a lot of small self-help groups and maybe a few symbios. And there are very few cooperatives. I know we have like a Kwachai cooperative. This is basically an horticulture cooperative. They are working on tomatoes and other Indian export crops. The main challenge has been on, if you look at the seasonality, the way, if you look at dairy, for example, this is something you are delivering on daily basis. Right. So it is giving you some income. If you look at horticulture, there tends to be an element of seasonality, and that can give cash flow issues in a cooperative. But if it is properly organized and you are doing irrigation, you are independent of rain-fed agriculture, you are doing irrigation, and then you are targeting, if it is horticulture, there can be several crops in the horticulture value chain. You could be doing tomatoes, you could be doing cherries, you could be doing sweet corn, so that you have steady financial flows that can sustain the cooperative. That can make it work. Right. So that as we promote our solar solutions, we are also promoting diversification of the crops that our farmers are irrigating. That can be very useful at that level. Then we need to look for space for youth and for women. And there is a lot they can do. If you look at, if you talk about small-scale irrigation, the people who can do it, if you look at Makueni, the farm ponds, that is the commonest technology you find there, and shell wells, and trying to use solar power and pumps. The people who can do this are actually the youth. And then these are the people we need to bring together in a cooperative so that they can access the inputs and the financial support that is required. So there is a lot of opportunity even in horticulture. But we need to do it differently from the way we have done it in dairy. But there are important lessons to pick from that area.
So at this point in time where we are, we cannot continue being rain-fed. We have to diversify into irrigation. That way we can remain in season all through. All right?
Yes, and with the solar power, you can easily extract water in a sustainable way, in a cheaper way, that can sustain good irrigation systems.
Thank you so very much for those insights. Ms. Queen, please talk to us on how decentralized is the awareness. Ule mkulima ambaye ako Turkana, nikienda nizungumze naye leo kuhusiana na masuala ya solar energy. Ataniambia amepata training. So we are trying to see also how far and spread are we when it comes to the spreading out of this very vital information, carrying everyone, inclusivity of everyone without, leaving anyone behind. Talk to us about that.
So for solar-powered equipment, so far most of my clients are in Tana River, Wajir, Garissa, Narok counties, the outskirts, yeah? However, when it comes to awareness, those are some of the areas that I rarely get to because it is very expensive to conduct awareness as an entrepreneur if you do not have partners. Currently what we do is we have monthly awareness campaigns. We are working with a private partner, so it means they organize the dairy farmers and then we pay them. We pay them to organize for us and then we go and train. So the monthly is organized per county. Like on 20th, which is next week, 19th and 20th, I'm supposed to be in Uasin Gishu for the training. And then next month, we have a schedule. However, I will, so far, because of my financial reach, I have deliberately left out counties where cooperatives are not many and where getting them is expensive. So do I wish to get there? Yes, because there is where my ideal solar client is. But then how am I getting them without spending much? That is a challenge.
Are we planning on incorporating digital information when it comes to reaching these people?
That is a great idea. But remember, when you meet my farmers, you will know where digital meets problems. So we usually meet them in a tent. They sit down and we train the whole day, different things, practical and tests, and but digital we haven't tried. I believe it can work. More so when we are talking about youth, it's very possible for it to work. So I think it's something we need to look into.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe we can always try and identify a young person in those almost unreachable areas, train them digitally, and then they're able to pass the information to other farmers who are there.
That is actually very true. That is true. Like just picking from what my KPR counterpart mentioned. Having availability of trained installers or people to maintain is also a challenge we face, because for every site we install, we intend to train a local expert, so that I don't get to go there every time inverter is making some funny noise. So I'll just tell so-and-so, go and check for me what could be the issue, because at least they have the school background, and during installation we have also trained them through. But then most of the areas you also don't get that person. So in Kisumu, I'll call someone in Vihiga, you know. So the distance between where a local technician is found and where I've installed is actually a challenge.
Great. Thank you so very much for that. I will be opening the floor very shortly for you to ask any questions that you do have for any of our panelists. But just the last one before I come to you, Mr. Elijah. Ukienda sana uangalie different cooperative society, you'll find mostly we have the elderly people there. And with the direction that we are moving, the young people need to be at the forefront if agriculture is to be sustainable in Kenya. Talk to us about what incentives we can put in place in order to lure young people into cooperative societies.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. Youthification and women inclusive in cooperative is a key game changer into these cooperatives. And what needs to be done is that most of these cooperatives, they should adopt mechanization, because the youth would be attracted to where the machines are working. Youth would not like to work in the farm using their hand. So we can employ them in the mechanization. The other thing is ICT. Adopting ICT, my colleague from McQueen has talked about why people are not, many farmers are not in cooperative. Delayed payment is a challenge. Delayed payment. And once we adopt the ICT, connect ICT with microfinance, even digital skills, use of digital skills, we are going to bring more accountability and traceability, and therefore many people, farmers will have trust with the leadership. And at the same time, this digital and ICT will be manned by the youth. So we bring on the youth into the cooperative. We also adopt value addition and processing in these cooperatives. And you'll find that youth will be attracted, especially in value addition, packaging, transportation, logistics. This will attract the youth. It is also important that we apply the affirmative action in the leadership of these cooperatives. We should have youth, deliberately target youth and bring them into the cooperative. That way we shall have more youths working, because the cooperatives and the farming will be more attractive to the youth. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I'd like to open the floor to anyone in the audience who has a question. Any question? Yes, I can see one question here. I'll come to you. Please feel free to address it to any particular person.
Yes, my name is Daniel Juguna from Dairy Training Institute in Naivasha. My question goes towards the TechWin. A lot of technology has been in the dairy has been focused on cooling. The solar energy, there's a lot of development on cooling, and therefore coolers are there for cooling milk using solar energy. But the value addition somebody has just talked about requires processing, which requires a lot of heat for processing the product, and this is pasteurization. So this area, I don't know how much technology has been done. I know heating can be done using solar, but I have not seen this, that gap, I have not seen this coming towards processing. And this is an area where a lot of energy is required in that sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Any other question? There's one there, a lady at the far end, back there, and a gentleman there.
Thank you very much. My name is Christine Kivuva from Nairobi City County. I'm an Assistant Director in Environmental Monitoring, Compliance and Enforcement. Thank you very much for this event. It's actually a very good event, especially on the deliberations on renewable energy. Mine is not just a question, but something to think about, especially now that we are advocating for renewable energy and solar initiatives in our country. I think we also need to check on the life cycle assessment of the solar systems, because as much as we are looking at the sustainable way of using the energy from the wind, solar, and also geothermal, we also need to check that the systems are not also creating another environmental impact to our environment. As much as we are solving one problem, we are not creating another problem. So this goes to our manufacturers for the solar system. Kindly, let's ensure that whatever we are using in the systems, they're not going to have another problem, which will now come to solve in future. Because we are working on ensuring that the future generations will not suffer from our actions right now. But this is a very, very good initiative. I also add another comment, especially to the other counties. Myself, I come from Makueni County, and I agree with you that cooperatives are very important, as much as we also want to have the solar systems to the women, youth groups, and farmers in the community. And I will urge the panelists from Makueni County to at least encourage participation up to the grassroots level. Because looking at, like, for example, where I come from, my mom will trust more the chama leader or the area chief than someone else who maybe she does not know. So if we can encourage that organization from the grassroots level, starting with the community-based organizations, the women groups, from the lowest level of administration, and then we upscale that to the higher level. I was also thinking, now we are working with the county government. We also need to strengthen the policies, initiatives in the county government, because now we have the natural law on the Energy Act, but what do we have that at the county level? So let's work on that, just to strengthen the policy initiatives at the county level, and also encourage public-private partnership, as we also advocate for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Andrew Amadi, and I am a director at a company called Wecol Limited. What we do is we produce drought-resistant grass pellets, which is primarily for an energy source for thermal energy. There's somebody who talked about pasteurization, so it can be used in boilers to produce heat for pasteurization. In addition to that, the pellets themselves can be used as animal feed. So my question is to Saum from KCIC, just to understand the definition or the scope of the agricultural value chains when you're talking about dairy. So can dairy also include the machinery or equipment that is used, for example, to produce these pellets for animal feed, and can it also extend to producing energy that is required for pasteurization? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Musa Njoe. I'm from Nakuru. And mine is more of a comment on awareness about use of solar energy. I was advantaged to have worked with KCIC on the productive use of solar energy project. And our focus was on setting up a demo center to show the people how solar energy can be used. So in our facility, we have a solar milk cooler, which everybody can see. We also have a dryer, solar hybrid dryer using solar and biomass, particularly maize cobs. And the major focus was to bridge the gap on awareness. And we are thinking beyond just the farmer. We want the center to expand so that we can start even with the schools. So the young can start seeing how solar can be used, and eventually the dream will come true. So that's what we do, and I invite the Makoen guys and Laikipia, come to Nakuru Texas Limited, have a feel, touch this equipment, and we start creating that awareness. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Churchill Obiro, all the way from Isiolo County. I think Isiolo has been mentioned 9 record times up there. I was very keen, so I feel at home. I'm the branch manager, Davis and Shuttle Isiolo, and I think I was part of I feel something on the baseline survey, so I'm glad to be here. A quick one, I work with, I do projects in these remote areas, and one major problem is sustainability. And because of that, we've been trying to go into some technologies. One of them is remote monitoring, real-time remote monitoring, to ensure that when you install probably what we are talking about, when there's a breakdown, then there's quick emergency response. So I would want to know, probably to Saumu and Tekwin, what kind of measures are you putting in place to ensure that there's remote monitoring, so that when there's breakage, or rather failure in the systems, then it's quickly captured and rectified. And also for sustainability, because there are cases where when such equipment fail, then users quickly run away from them and they become elephant projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Allow us to answer this first one, and then we'll do one last round of 3 questions before we finalize. I've already marked where they're coming from. And we are going to start with the question to Queen. Mr. Daniel asked about a lot of technology in the dairy sector is focusing on the coolers, right? And we have the heating and pasteurization. Feels like there's a gap there. Please talk to us about how diversified is the technology in dairy when it comes to solar?
Thank you. So Tekwin deals with the whole value chain, from milking to value addition, packaging, and to market. So for renewable energy integration, so far in the dairy value chain and horticulture, we have integrated solar into cooling and dispensing. So we have solar-powered milk dispensers. We have solar-powered milking machine. However, for pasteurization, the power need makes the initial cost of solar a bit high. So then what we offer as renewable solution there is we have biogas powered pasteurizers. Currently we're waiting for its patent. It's KEB certified already. Actually all of our locally manufactured products have KEB standardization mark. So that one is already out there to help reduce the problem of electricity cost for pasteurization and smallholder value addition. Because I think after you have serviced the major processors, the KCCs and Meru Centrals, then you realize when you are a Kenyan processor looking at Kenyan market, you might run dry of customers if you do not go down to encouraging smallholder farmers and dairy cooperatives to also start value addition. So then how do you make them afford it? That is how we came up with the biogas powered the items, yeah? Mm-hmm. They also just use normal LPG. They can also use boilers, like the gentleman was mentioning there. So hot water, steam boilers. So I believe that is a step. Immediately the patent comes out, though it has been tested. Tanzanian market likes it a lot. Kenya, we have a few that is already out there, and we hope that the market here will support it. Yes.
Thank you so much. After this interaction, you can talk some more to further that conversation. That's okay, Mr. Daniel? All right, thank you. Also, thank you, Christine Kivuva, for your comments. And now we are going to move to the question from Andrew, which was directed to Saumu. And the question was on the definition of scope in the dairy value chain. He is in the space of the pellets. Are you also supporting such agribusinesses?
Thank you, Andrew Amadi, for that question. So, the DREEM initiative has been going on for the past 10 years, and the focus has been on solar technology. So even when we were doing our needs assessment, we focused on where is the potential to integrate solar in the dairy value chain. We allow solar hybrid technologies, but our focus is on solar drying, solar thermal technologies, and solar cooling technologies. So if you can do an innovation of your technology and hybridize it with solar, it will be allowed in the program. Yeah.
That's okay, Mr. Andrew? All right.
We will allow other technologies after 3 years.
Okay.
Based on research. We are onboarding a research partner, and their role is to understand what other renewable energy technologies we can introduce to the farmers.
Right. So maybe just while at it, as we close this first panel of questions, they had the last question from Churchill from Isiolo, who was asking about your plans on remote monitoring of the solar-powered equipment. Talk to us about that.
We are going to onboard technology providers based on those 3 categories I've mentioned, and we will make sure that every technology is offered is integrated with remote monitoring. So I'm hoping, TechQueen, your technology has this, but this is a key consideration for us to consider your technology for the program. Yeah.
TechQueen, you have something to say?
Yes, a bit of. There is room for improvement, and hopefully, Saumu, we will work on that. But yes, there is a bit of monitoring.
Great. So I want us to pick our last round of questions. We had 1, 2, and then we can close this panel conversation. 3. So let me bring the mic to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Said. I'm from the Seco Energy, located in Shanghai, China. I'm the chairman. So actually, thank you so much for talking today and invitation. It was a great opportunity. This kind of business we do in Middle East, some country like Iran, like Iraq, for helping the agriculture. So the question is that before we are starting this business, you know, the big company, what is the value of the big companies is that they get the raw material from the farmer. So if in this situation we will bring a job to the farmer, and farmer can produce their own products and they will sell to the market, that competitor, that will bring a biggest gap and biggest problem competitive between the big company and the small companies. And we had this challenge in Middle East. So the big company, because they have a connection, they have a relation with the government or something, they can control the market. So the first issue, I don't think so. They can sell the goods and produce the goods And because the big companies, they need raw material. If you bring a technology for them, for sure in the future, the farmer, they can produce well. This is the first question, how we can deal with this. The second question, so what is the financial payment back for the investor? So if you bring an investor from the foreign countries, how they can work with this situation, with this policy? And the third question, how this policy can force the farmer to do the solarized or their environment. Thank you so much.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much for your question. On the issue of market access, so for us, we are working with KNAF, and besides creating awareness about solar technology, we want to ensure there is a market for the farmers' produce. So we will have like market access support, but also setting up these digital platforms for the farmers where they can get a market for their produce. I know they'll face competition from the large producers or the large companies, but we'll try our best to connect them with exporters for their produce, and also with the correct market for their produce, just to ensure their sustainability. In terms of access to finance, we are issuing concessional loans at 12% interest rates, but our payment plan is within the 2 years for the collection of these funds. That will be done by the access to finance partner. So in 2 years, we are hoping to collect that money and then turn it into a revolving fund for the sustainability of the hub, so that moving forward, the youth and women can continue accessing the loans. Yeah. Was there that question? Did I answer all? Yes. Okay, good. Talk to me. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Chelsea Okello, an agricultural and biosystems engineer from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUAT. Currently a DREEM Fellow, seconded to the Kenya Renewable Energy Association career. Well, my question is on the solar pumps. As we are looking to make impact in the horticultural sector, are we calibrating this equipment to the specific crop water requirements that these farmers are planting? And if so, are we looking to create awareness among the smallholder farmers to know the amount of water that the particular crop they are growing needs, so that they do not over-irrigate or under-irrigate? Thank you.
You don't do solar water pumping, right? Okay, so to answer your question, the technologies that we'll provide will be based on the needs of the cooperative. So of course, you have to do a needs assessment of their energy demand before you supply them with the technology. So that will happen. We'll also create awareness. We intend to work with people like CLASP to ensure the farmers have energy efficient technology. So as much as we are advocating for energy access in agriculture, how can farmers have efficient technology so that they can save on energy and reinvest into other agricultural activities? Yeah. As per the needs of the farmers. Yes. Yeah.
So basically, that is what I wanted to add. Yeah, but I also want to, I can comment on the competition. If we are talking about us empowering the smallholder farmers to also manufacture what the major processors are doing, is competition. In our local market, yogurt, mala, mursik, the value-added products, the locally bought value-added products have so much market that the major processors cannot handle on their own. Mostly you will get the major processors on the shelves in urban areas, but then these smallholder farmers, their yogurts and everything is sold where they are, and trust me, there is deficit, there's still deficit. Last week we were in Meru, and I just learned that, no, Embu, sorry. I learned that Embu people don't like yogurt very much, but mala, but they like yogurt very much, but not very much mala. The gentleman who just started his value addition line, only doing 500 liters a day, with the focus of increasing it to around 2,000 liters in the next 2 weeks, was supported by the government. MCAs and everyone came, because in that area, the major processors' products are only in town and not in the rural areas. Yeah, so I believe there is no competition. The market is so big. Yes.
Thank you so much for that. Another question?
My name is James Gidwa. I come from Embu County, and I work with the solar companies as marketing and sales agents. And I've been dealing with farmers and also individuals who want to light their homes using solar home systems. We also have farmers who want to use solar water pumps. And my question is, solarizing Kenya agricultural value chains seems like it's for organized cooperatives, farmers who are in groups, whereby their products are well maintained using solar systems. Now, for that product to be able to reach that organized groups, the farmer, who is an individual, need to produce using, and especially the solar energy, for those who are using solar irrigation systems. How are you going to finance them? Or do you have a system of financing them? So that they can be able to do it individually. Because, like for example, I work for Sunking, whereby we give individual solar systems, and they pay, can either pay cash or lipa mdogo mdogo. We have a system of enabling this person to be able to get that system individually and lipa pole pole. So my question is, are you also financing those individual farmers so that they can produce, and then that produce is taken to be value added using solar systems? Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, no. You have to be a member of a cooperative or a formally registered farmers group. This is because we wanted to mitigate the risks in terms of called what? I'm looking for the right word. Defaults in terms, since we are issuing loans, so we are trying to mitigate such risks, and we are an NGO, so we sub-grant to an access to finance partner, a partner who has experience working with cooperatives or issuing financing to cooperatives, and for them to issue the financing or manage this fund for us. Then we collect it back and set up a revolving fund for other groups to access it. Yeah, so the access to finance partner have a way of how they distribute the funds to the cooperatives, but we are not considering individual farmers, unfortunately. Yeah.
Thank you so much. One last question, and then we can close this panel.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, I'm Engineer Fantas Kamor from LELEC. LELEC is a government agency responsible for grid extension and also for promotion of renewable energy. Most of you, I know, you know us about electrification, but the role of promotion of renewable energy is our mandate, and what you are doing, we really appreciate. My request is this: how can you support us? In fact, what you have discussed, we have a lot of energy centers across the country, so that the technology you are discussing here can also be demonstrated there, so that other parts of Kenya can be able to see what you are saying. Especially there's a gap for aspect of in application in agriculture. Most of our energy centers promote clean cooking, but there's really a deficit in the area of the agriculture and value chain. May I request whether you can join us, we partner together so that you can showcase your product for future extension of these technologies. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I had initiated this conversation with Dr. Freddy Sugar, so it's something we are considering, and I'll check the energy centers if you have any in those 4 counties, Isiolo, Laikipia, Makueni, and Kitui, and see how we can work together. I know you have energy centers, so we'll see how we can work together on the training part and awareness creation. Yeah, and I know you do mini grids also, so productive use of energy is key for us. So how we can work to promote productive use of solar energy for your mini grids to ensure sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Finally, Mr. Munene Mwindi, any final remarks that you have?
Yeah, I wish to make one small remark. Dua from Embu was asking about individuals, and I wanted to point out that Aaron put across a question, and most of us confirmed that they are more or less farmers. Countrywide, there is a program called NAV CDP. As we talk now, it is mobilizing farmers in dairy, in horticulture, in other value chains, the ones that are in CNGs, and to join CNGs that will be affiliated to cooperatives, so that every farmer will be able to access funding. Even if they're in a CNG, it can be affiliated to a cooperative, and the government is forming a circle in every ward in this country so that financial access can be improved. And I'm sure with the partners like KCIC, those circles may one day become channels for making finances available to farmers. So I urge farmers to find out how they can join the CNGs and the circles in their wards so that they are able to access funding for support for these value chains.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Also, Ms. Queen, as you give us your final remarks, maybe you can guide people in this room who are now inspired to adopt solar technologies. What can they do to ensure that they're not getting counterfeit products? Sana sana mtu atenda nunue kitu baada ya wiki tatu haifanyi kazi, and you know that is something that a lot of farmers have experienced. Please talk to us about how we can make sure that we are getting genuine products in the market.
That is a real challenge in our market right now, because as you're going along Jogo Road, everyone is making something. So what I'm selling at 100,000, you're going to get it at 60 or even 40. So I know I do not know exactly what KEBS is doing about it, or if they will do something about it. Has it been raised in other forums? Yes, because as TechWin, we are part of Kenya Manufacturers Association, and it comes up during discussions, but then it also comes up that, you know, that we might not have capacity to in this case, personnel, to be able to, you know, control everything, but we hope that at some point it will be done. So then how do we make sure that farmers are aware of quality and non-quality? It's also very difficult, because what KDB says is your equipment have to be food grade, and these are the guidelines that you have to follow for you to comply. Us as TechWin, we have done that, and then we've gotten KEBS certification. But then most of our clients will not ask to see, do you have it or not? So it's a gray area. The best you can do is to sensitize them on how can you tell. But then most of Kenyans, we like cheap things. Yeah. So they'll call you after they bought their cooler or pasteurizer and it's now rusting. Because yours was 50,000 more than what they bought. And unfortunately, I will have to take it back, and then I'll make for you another one, because I might not be able to repair it. So yes, there are challenges, and challenges come from most manufacturers get raw material from anywhere. They do not check the quality of their raw material. And the workshops we are working in, we do not want to confirm if our technicians, our welders, have met the standard. Because, you know, food is very delicate. Your finished product needs to be as clean as possible for easy cleaning and for milk not to go bad and all. So we hope that with continued sensitization and awareness, and also associating with brands that can also, you know, promote quality with you, then we will be able to make Kenyans know, if you want quality, please try and check here. Yes.
So thank you so much for putting the phrase cheap is expensive in your explanation. Thank you so much. Finally, Mr. Elijah, your final remarks as we close this panel.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again. Dear partners, this is Elijah addressing you from Laikipia. There is a big potential of the solar energy in Laikipia. Laikipia, we are developing our irrigation infrastructure, and this will expand the demand for solar. The climate change in Laikipia, sometimes we lose a lot of our agricultural produce through climate risk, and therefore, when we have got solar energy, we are going to use the solar energy into our irrigation, and we stop depending on rain-fed. We are taking up processing seriously, value addition, so the demand will be very high. We have got longer sunshine hours in Laikipia, so we can leverage on solar energies, and therefore solar energy will be the next game changer for agricultural sector in Laikipia. On policy, we have developed policies that are favorable. We have got our county integrated development plan, which is addressing the solar energy. We have got the agriculture sector strategic plan. Currently, we are working on we are cascading on the climate smart agriculture, where we are taking solar energy as one of the action plan. We are very friendly. The governor, the politics of Laikipia is very receptive. We are encouraging our partners to enter memorandum of understanding with the county government for smoother and easier working. We are creating a very good relationship. We have created desk where we have contact person. As I said, in agriculture, you'll find me. So you are very much welcome in Laikipia, and we are very much willing to work with you and do business. Thank you very much.
Let's give him a round of applause for, you know, speaking so highly of his county. I believe all the partners here will be talking to you after this. And once again, let us give a round of applause to the entire panel for sharing so much insights on where we are going with renewable energy. Let us appreciate them one more time. Thank you so very much, Ms. Saumu Ismail, who is the project manager of DREEM HUB. Thank you so very much. Also, Mr. Munene Mwindi, who is the director of cooperatives in Makueni County. Once again, thank you so much, Ms. Queen Lombaka from TechWin Limited. And finally, Elijah Wamunyu, deputy director agriculture from Laikipia County. And also all of you for your comments, feedback, and also questions as well. It has been an absolute pleasure having this panel, and I believe every single one of us has some points to take home. Please feel free to further this conversation once we are done with this panel, because it's very obvious there's still a lot more to talk about, and we are encouraging you to do that on a personal basis after this. So for now, allow me to call back Mr. Ernest, who will take us to the next step.
Just a small announcement. Thank you so much. So we will be launching a call for application in the 4 counties. So any cooperative that is interested in the program should look out for that and submit an application. And then we will be hosting a Dream Partners Conference in Uganda in July. We'll be sharing out invites. If you can make it to join us, please do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ernest?
Yeah, thank you, Ngina, for that informative session that we've just concluded. As we come to the tail end of our event today, I want to recognize the presence of the Ministry of Energy, and now I want to invite them to give us some remarks before I invite our CEO to give a vote of thanks and also give some of our other guests. So welcome, Mr. Peter Tobora, on behalf of the Ministry of Energy.
Good morning. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here this morning. I do not an honor to be with you. Okay, thank you so much. My name is Peter Dofora. I work for the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum in the State Department for Energy. I'm a Deputy Director of Renewable Energy. This morning, I've had a good listening to what has been going on. And as regards this program and the project where you are promoting energy or integrating energy in our agricultural systems. And as you're aware, the mission for our ministry is to facilitate the provision of clean, sustainable, and affordable, reliable, and secure energy sources for national development while we protect the environment. Under this, one of our key functions is the promotion of renewable energy. As I understand that in this forum, the target is people in agriculture and the cooperatives, and also energy being an enabling environment, and especially some projects in Makueni and Laikipia counties. Kenya has a big solar potential where we have around 15,000 megawatts potential to have energy from solar to electricity, as well as we have around 4 to 6 kilowatt hour per meter squared daily. That is the irradiation. And the government of Kenya, through the State Department for Energy, has been creating policy rigor framework that are intended to grow this sector, whereby by creating a better environment for practitioners. It is said that government has no business in business, but I think it has some role to play, because government has the business of creating a favorable policy and legal framework for enterprises so that we can grow in the sector. And the Ministry of Energy has been doing that, and especially the State Department. Under this, we have created supportive incentives, physical incentives, for example. For example, in solar technology, we support the importation of the materials to ensure that whatever is brought in the country there is physical support. Duty is there's a bit of quite a good duty exemption. We have been encouraging the enterprises and the practitioners to work with associations like CAREA, among others, so that they write through us to Treasury where the items are exempted, and we support that in a big way. As you're aware, one of the requirement for our country is to have universal access to clean energy by the year 2030. That is energy from generation of electricity to domestic and industrial use of energy, like in cooking and heating by the year 2030. That's a target for the ministry and for the country. Under this, we have been developing some strategies and implementing them, as well as the policy. The Energy Policy 2018 is now under review, and I'm sure maybe amongst you have received notices on participation for the public to ensure that it is done, it's the right way, it's ongoing. We also have the issue of standards for renewable that we work with the sectors to ensure that where they are being used by either in agriculture or in industry, those standards are and regulations are in place, and the stakeholders are part of the process of developing those standards. We work closely with the stakeholders to ensure that the standards, the strategies are aligned to the needs of the country, as well as the promotion of renewable energy, which is a major function of where I work. The Energy Act 2019 also promotes the issue of solar, among other technologies, and this has been operationalized through a number of strategies, including the Kenya National Electrification Strategy, which is now under review. Also, the Kenya National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Strategy, the Bioenergy Strategy and the Action Plan, the Kenya National Clean Cooking Transition Strategy, e-mobility strategies, among many others that you have come up with. In the same vein, we also support the climate change sector by ensuring that we contribute to the nationally determined contributions of the 2%. That is the target. I know in Laikipia County and Makueni, you have programs that is covering daily for cooling, maybe with the farm produce like milk, as well as horticulture in agriculture for drying, and also the use of greenhouse gases. Under the renewable energy initiative, we have initiatives that support these programs and projects, where we have been working with the counties to ensure that renewable energy is integrated in the scheme, because energy is an enabler. Under this, we have a program that we have been training the counties to ensure they are able to do their energy planning, because Energy Act demands that we do what we call integrated national energy and planning, whereby the counties are required to come up with the county energy plans, and then we integrate this as a ministry as one national energy document, which is done or review every 3 years. We have trained a number of counties on this, and we are continuing to support this, so that where we have programs and projects in agriculture, we are able to ensure that the counties are moving together with us. Also, we have some demos or demonstration units like biogas, among others that support the promotion of renewable energy, as well as clean cooking. There is a portion of solar cooking that is also coming up in the market, and maybe that's an area that you can explore. Through our regulator, EPRA, we have the solar regulations that have been in operation, whereby under these regulations, we ensure the standards are enforced. I understand for anyone who is operating a solar business, whether it's an enterprise, whether it's a shop, you are required to have a trained artisan, a technician by law. So those now are the ones that ensure that when I had there are some products that are not very good, then maybe that is where we need to step up our enforcement, because already regulations are in place, and our regulator is already working on that. Also, the issue of the feed-in tariff, where solar was targeted, capped at 20 megawatts currently. So those are the supports for the solar sector and renewable energy, as well as net metering, whereby if you produce more solar energy, electricity from solar energy, you can take the excess to the grid, and when you have the demand now varies, then you can still use the same so that the bills come down. Those are some of the areas we are working on, as well as anyone who has more than 20 megawatts production of electricity, you have now the auction option that is already being implemented. As I mentioned, the issue of clean cooking and agriculture go hand in hand because farmers need to feed their families. So we have been supporting this through promoting clean cooking to ensure that this takes place in the right way. So the ministry has been developing policies and regulations that are supportive to this sector so that we are able to ensure that all the technologies, whether in water heating, solar dryers, maybe pasteurization of maybe milk, lighting using solar, pumping using solar also, and also e-mobility are in use so that we reduce this post-harvest losses, as well as we increase the uptake of renewable energy, for instance, solar, so that the country can move towards our target of universal access to clean cooking by the year 2030. In conclusion, I can mention that under this program, where we talk about access to solar technology for productive use, I think we have to have a good functional policy and regulatory framework that includes now the fiscal incentives. And we continue to improve this so that the sector can move forward. Also, by having the fiscal incentives, we make the technologies that to be affordable to the average farmer and ensure that there's growth. On market linkages and also value addition, we are working with the counties on the county energy planning to ensure that the solar and other renewable energy are taken care of. This will ensure that we have good engagement and participatory engagement in the energy sector because energy is an enabler. So as we move forward, we continue to support this program to ensure that it is able to achieve its objective. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you, Peter, for that. So as we come to the conclusion of this event, I want to now just invite a few partners who joined us today. We had a very small token of appreciation, and I'll invite our CEO to the stage first. So I will invite the representative from the Ministry of Agriculture. We'll start with the representative from the Ministry of Agriculture. Yeah, Ministry of Energy. Yeah, thank you. So the representative from Makueni. Laikipia. Then we can have the JKUAT. And then finally we can have Rafford. Thank you. So for the other spoke partners, yours will be sent to you. So if you have any other questions, we had a session for Q&A, but in the interest of time, we'll skip that session, but we have our teams in the room. We have Saumu. In case you have a question, Saumu, maybe you can just stand. She was on the panel. We also have Felix, who is the director of programs. You can reach out to them after this event for any question that was not clarified during the panel session. So now I want to invite Joseph to give a vote of thanks as we close the session. Thank you.
Very good. I hope you all agree that those have been very useful 3 hours of your time. I hope you agree that you've spent those were 3 hours very well spent. So before I give the vote of thanks, I just wanted to remind us of a quote by Ross Perot. I'm sure many of you will remember Ross Perot as a leading businessman in America. And at some point, he even wanted to be president of America, that is. And this is what he said. The activist is not the person who says the river is dirty. The activist is the person who cleans the river. Basically, what he was saying is our priority should be action and solutions, not merely pointing out where the problems are. And we know that the two sectors that we are trying to work on today, be it agriculture, be it energy, have a lot of challenges. Many of them have been mentioned. Our job is to do something about it, provide these solutions. Because if we don't, somebody else will. And that somebody else will do it to our detriment. I think many of you will recall that UNDP, in the course of last year, created a program called Timbuktu. It's basically like a bigger version of DREEM, if you like. because it's supposed to incubate tech startups across the entire Africa. And in the course of last year, I was privileged to be a judge in that program. My job was to cover West Africa. Because I'm East African, I couldn't cover East Africa, so my job was to cover East Africa. Basically, select 14 startups from West Africa that can be incubated under that program. Majority of those startups were Nigerian, and do you want to guess what the Nigerians were proposing to do? They were all, half of them were talking cold storage solutions, technology around cold storage solutions, which is basically cold storage solutions for off-grid areas, for the agricultural sector, which is basically what we are talking about here today. And they were not talking about doing it in Nigeria. They were talking about doing it in Kenya and Uganda. I mean, of course, we knew why that was so, because over time, UNDP has been spending a lot of money in West Africa, so they are trying to rebalance that by spending money in East Africa. And so the Nigerians decided that if the money is not going to go to them, they are going to come to the money. And so they decide that they are coming to Kenya and Uganda to do what we want to do with DREEM. Basically create cold storage solutions for the agricultural sector. And a lot of that we can. So basically the point I'm making is simple. If we don't do it, yeah, exactly, they will do it. So all of us here, as we live, let us be thinking about, fine, how do we create these solutions that can take advantage of solar energy for the agricultural sector. I think my colleague Saumu said there'll be a call for application in the coming 2 weeks, so that you have 2 weeks to think through, and then when the call for applications is published, you bring those ideas. And then they'll be subjected to a jury, and then we can be able to choose the best to support as it is. Because if we don't, the Nigerians will come and do it. And the benefits will not remain here, they will go to Nigeria. Okay, so let's try and do it ourselves as it is. So with those few remarks, I wanted to first of all thank everybody, all of you, sincerely, for making the time and for being such a wonderful audience today. I think when the questions, the panel questions were requested for, at every table, I saw a hand at every table. So is there a table in this room where there's nobody who has spoken? Because this can be opportunity, you come and we give you the opportunity to say something. You didn't, in this table, there's nobody who spoke. At least you have spoken now. So we are good. Yeah, so thank you very much for being a wonderful audience, and thank you for your very, very active participation. In a special way, all this will not be possible. So I want to thank without the team, so I want to thank the people who have done the heavy lifting and put all this together, and the people who are going to commit their time to ensure that this program works. So KCIC staff, wherever you are, just kindly stand up. I can't mention everybody by name. So if KCIC staff kindly just stand up. If we can give them a round of applause, please. Just so they're there. No? Yeah. So this is the team that has put this together. We are 53 of us across the entire country. We have people in every region of Kenya. So if you are from the coast, you are from Western, you are from the frontier counties, you are from, and you want any information about this, you don't have to worry about coming to Nairobi. We have an office in every region of this country. If you're from Nyanza, we have an office at the Agricultural Training Center in Kisii, you'll get all this information there. If you are from Western Kenya, at Mabanga ATC in Bungoma, we have an office there, you'll get this information there. If you are from the central region, that is Murang'a, Kiambu, Nairobi, Nakuru, we have an office in, we have our own head office at Strathmore. All this information is there. If you are from the frontier counties or from the Mount Kenya region, we have an office in Meru at the Kanguru ATC. So you'll be able to get the information there. If you are from the coast, we have an office at Kalro in Mtwapa. You'll be able to get this information there. So every part of this country, we have a presence. And as I mentioned, I was mentioning to Haron that there is no sub-county in this country where we don't have a project. So we are everywhere, and therefore you can be able to get the information from us. But if you don't want to get to any of our offices, please get to our social media handles, get to our email, info@kenyacic.org, and you'll get a response for whatever it is you need to know. So my colleagues at KCIC, thank you very much for putting all this together. In another special way, I want to thank the Ministry of Agriculture, represented here by Haron today. Haron, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. As you can see, the enthusiasm is great. So we will work with you to see how we can support our farmers in this space through the DREEM HUB. Again, I also want to thank again very sincerely our State Department for Energy, our Ministry of Energy, represented here by Peter today. So Peter, karibu sana, and thank you very much for honoring our invitation. You can pass our regards to the leadership of the ministry. We know we had gotten the information from Alex himself, from the PS himself, saying he's engaged elsewhere, but he's sending somebody. So thank you very much for honoring us with that invitation, and pass our regards to everybody. Our county delegation from Makueni, thank you once more for making it here and making it here on time, and for your participation and your contribution today. We are looking forward again to working together. I know we've worked together before on an energy program, the county energy plan, and now this is more or less putting that in action. So we are looking forward to working with you again. And as I mentioned, and just to mention, please pass our regards again to the governor, to Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr., who is a very good friend of KCIC. So please thank you again for your participation. For the delegation from Laikipia, again, thank you very much. Laikipia is not very near here, but you are able to get here by 7:30. So it tells you just how committed you are to this program. So we are looking forward, not as Ross Perot says, not just pointing out what the challenges are, not pointing out where the river is dirty. We are looking forward to cleaning the river together. And in this case, that basically means implementing whatever solutions we can to green the agricultural sector. To our spoke partners, I think we've been here before, Rafford, JK Yuat, Eklov, Kenaf, and anyone else I've not mentioned. Thank you very much. We're looking forward now, formally, the hard work begins from today. All these people here, plus everybody joining us online, is going to put us to account in 2 years. So our work is cut out for us. We've made a lot of promises today in terms of what we want to achieve. If we, in 2 years when we meet here and we have not achieved, it's not just KCIC that will be on the hook, we all will be, as it is. So we're looking forward to working together to ensuring that all this works. If there's anybody I have not mentioned, I think please feel honored. in a special way, also, I want to thank our moderators for today. Gina, thank you very much for, handling this very, very well, plus my colleague Ernest. Thank you for being with us and for all the great work that you've been able to do. Again, just to reiterate, it is all about what we do. It's never what we say, as it is. For those who like poems, I'm sure you remember the Theodore Roosevelt poem around the man in the arena. You can point out all the problems, but at the end of the day, the man in the arena is about doing things. Yeah? It's not the critic who counts, because those will be many. And when I was in school, they used to say that if you fail as a practitioner, then you become a critic. Because you can't do it, then now you make your work to be to point out problems, because you failed as a practitioner. And since we are all successful practitioners, so our work is cut out for us. Our job is to do it, fail, stand up until we succeed. We know that this is new, this is an innovative program, and we will certainly succeed. I see very bright faces here, I see very determined people, and I see people who are raring to go. So I'm certain that we will be able to succeed, because if we succeed with DREAM, then right now we are starting off with a few counties. If we succeed, then we can make it a countrywide program after the next couple of years. And I think that is what we are aiming at. That's how we'll be able to scale the program. So thank you very much. Once more, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to us, and let's work together to achieve the objectives of DREAM. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for those remarks. It has been an absolute pleasure listening to you, Mr. Joseph Murabura, CEO, Kenya Climate Innovation Center. And with that, we have come to the end of our program this morning. We were gathered here for the launch of the DREEM HUB, which represents Distributed Renewable Energy Ecosystem Model, a program that is being implemented by the Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Thank you all so much for believing in this vision. Remember, at the end of the day, we're trying to encourage our farmers to adopt solar technologies and also practice sustainable practices in agriculture. Remember, when you're talking about sustainability, we're trying to make sure that besides this generation being able to feed itself, the next generation should be able to do the same. And that's why we need to focus on renewable energy sources. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for all the speakers who graced the stage and shared a lot of insights with us. Thank you to the panelists and also the questions that you did ask. After this session, I do encourage you to keep the conversation going, exchange contacts, and let everyone know of the good job that is being done by DREEM HUB. Very finally, let me appreciate the key stakeholders who are playing a very crucial role to make sure that this vision of DREEM HUB is actually implemented. A very big thanks to the national and county government. A very big thanks as well to the DREAM Spoke partners, enterprise support organizations, and finally, financiers in the room. Thank you so very much for coming together and believing in this dream and giving us hope for the future in the wake of climate change. Once again, it has been an absolute pleasure being your host alongside my co-host, Mr. Ernest. My name is Violeta Ngina. I am a television presenter on Citizen TV, focusing on a program called Kenya's Gold that focuses on farmers and climate change. And I'm hoping to see you on board on that program. Have a good day. Goodbye.